ultimately, I really want that team mindset and not an assessment culture. An assessment culture is one that I think is where some people can be predetermined for success because
Hey, what's up, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Connect Over Coffee. I brought Jen back here to co-host with me again. Jen, how's it going?
Good. Happy to be back.
All right. So, Jen, I'm going to let you introduce who we're chatting with today. Go ahead and take it from here.
Of course, our guest today is the one and only Richard Lintker. He is currently the VP of Ticket Sales, Service, and Operations for the Lehigh Valley Phantoms and PPL Center. Thanks for chatting with us today, Richard. We're happy to have you.
Well, I'm so happy to be back with you two and excited to be a part of this.
I feel like now's the appropriate time to do the from back in the day. That's perfect. All right, so Richard, before we get started, we're going to put you through our 2-minute drill. Jen and I are going to go back and forth, just spitfire and rapid fire questions at you, just to get us in that conversation flow and get you going in question and answering. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's go. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Sales or service?
Ooh, service.
Your favorite sports team?
Green Bay Packers and St. Louis Cardinals tie for that top spot.
Nice. Favorite athlete?
Ooh, of all time, I would have to say it's Michael Jordan.
I wasn't expecting that one. Sorry.
That's okay.
I ruined our rapid fire, Jen. Damn it.
Okay. Favorite sports movie?
Favorite sports movie is Air Bud.
Ooh, solid choice.
Godfather 1 or Godfather 2?
Godfather 2. Godfather 2.
Okay, big decisions being made here. KFC or Popeyes?
KFC all day. All day.
Besides your keys, your cell phone, and your wallet, what's one thing you cannot leave your house without?
Well, today, in this world that we live in right now, it's a mask.
Good one. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that one. I thought it was going to be, I actually had no clue, but I wasn't expecting that one there. That was good. That was fun. I really enjoyed that one. All right, Richard, let's connect a little bit further here. You started out in the movie theater business for about 10 years in the first part of your career. Then you decided to transition into the sports business, taking an inside sales job, an entry-level job, that is, with Monumental Sports. Talk about what that fork in the road looked like for you and ultimately how you decided this was a new plan and journey you wanted to take.
Yeah, I'm definitely non-traditional when it comes to getting my start into sports. Like you said, I was working as a movie theater general manager, and then I grew that into becoming an area manager where I started overseeing multiple locations at once. And for me, it was extremely rewarding, especially in my younger days. I was single. In my 20s, and I loved it. I didn't have a ton of things like responsibilities that I would ultimately now have, of course, in my lifetime. But for me, it was richly rewarding to be working in that space. It allowed me to manage a ton of people, learn a lot of things that I wanted to ultimately do in the future with sales, marketing, and most importantly, customer service. But there's one thing with movie theaters that really started to wear on me, and that's the fact that outside of the pandemic, when I was working in movie theaters, we were open 365 days a year, 7 days a week, obviously, and I would be on call as early as 9 a.m. And all the way through 3 in the morning if we held midnight shows, for instance, 365 days a year. And as great as that was for a number of years, I knew it was going to not be something I could do long term. And I moved out to DC, in the DC area, to oversee a grand opening and oversee the construction of a new movie theater location, which brought me out east. And I just happened to go to a networking event that was sports and entertainment focused, representing more or less the movie theater, but I took that as an opportunity for me to network and meet others in professional sports. And obviously, a lot of people in our industry are always going to tell you the cliche, "Oh, I love sports." You know, that's why I'm in this. I love sports. Well, of course, I love sports, but I wasn't in the industry, of course. And going there, I was able to meet a couple individuals, and I could just tell how excited they were to talk about sports. And I just knew that that's something that I could see myself loving to do. And here's where I was a little bit different from everybody else that might have been at that event. A lot of people in this industry look at sports as in like, oh, you know, there's so many hours that we have to put into sports. It's 9 to 5 plus all the games and everything else on top of it. Well, to me, that was somewhat of a break. It was a better work-life balance for myself. And after I talked to a number of individuals from a number of teams, Monumental Sports just seemed so great. It was so large, and the conversations I had with the folks that were there were so good that ultimately I was willing to take that leap of faith and start from the bottom, if you will. And take it was a major pay cut in terms of what I was making, but most importantly, it was a major step back in terms of going from being the ultimate overall leadership team of the movie theater company to then joining the ranks of sports almost at the bottom. So it was a gigantic leap of faith, and ultimately I just had to have faith in myself that I was going to be able to eventually move forward and make it worthwhile. And ultimately that's how we're all talking today.
Yeah, no, I think that's important to note, that having faith in yourself and the courage to like take a little bit of a pay cut, or a big pay cut maybe even, and then follow what you really want to do and get that career going, and having that faith in yourself, I think it's very important to kind of mention there. But
I know, like they say, it's all about the journey, not the destination, right? But it leads you to some great destinations. So but you actually touched on something that we also wanted to talk to you about today. You said you that your fork in the road, you ended up at a networking event. So how much did networking play a part in you being able to make the transition into sports?
Almost fully. Had I not had that face-to-face connection with teams like, at the time they were the Redskins, teams like the Nationals, University of Maryland, and ultimately Monumental Sports, if I didn't have those face-to-face conversations and follow-ups after that, I could still be in the movie theater industry today, and I'm not able to make that leap of faith.
So once you got into sports, Richie, did you have any mentors that helped you and maybe still help you to this day as you grow within the industry?
I think I had several. I think one that's really important to mention is Kirk Madsen, of course, who is somebody that I met at that networking event and helped me a great deal just in terms of my internal growth at Monumental, and somebody I rely on just for personal advice in life. But over time, I've just been able to meet so many remarkable individuals, and wasn't just people that were leaders. I've been able to meet individuals that worked as part of my team, including yourselves, that have helped me a great deal, just learning how I can become a better leader. I mean, as we talk about a leader in today's scope, and no matter what business, I think it's important for somebody like me to be able to listen to other voices and people that were part of our team, people that I did work for and under, and just people I'm around, because you know I'm trying to build something in terms of my leadership style, but also the culture that we have here. That's not part of the whole sameness cycle that I think I may have seen in places when I first came up in the movie theater world, but also when I first came up in sports, and adopting more of a development mindset, and that development mindset that I want to bring here to the Lehigh Valley came because of interactions I had with folks like yourselves and others that were part of my team, that ultimately I really want that team mindset and not an assessment culture. An assessment culture is one that I think is where some people can be predetermined for success because current leaders may see similar traits in people when they start, or people when they start advancing slowly in the world of business and sports. So a lot of times, I think in the past, that sameness culture and assessment culture was very prevalent, and where I can do now as a leader myself is provide more of a development culture to make sure that we're really inclusive and everything else. And it's one thing to be inclusive and adding underrepresented individuals to a team or a business, but it's another thing to develop them and help them become leaders, and not just promote in that sameness style. So I think, going back to the original question of mentors, I think I've had mentors that, like the two of you, that have been part of my team, but mentors that I did look up to and value in terms of their style as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up culture, because that is one of the things that I loved about working underneath you when you were my director, was the culture that you brought to the team. And we all felt like it was a team atmosphere. Whenever we went to events together, we always sat to it with each other. Whether we were doing ticket sales, we had each other's back. And I credit that to you and your leadership for bringing that culture with the team there. So, but going back on the topic of your career a little bit, what are some of the tips and habits that you did and still do that you put into place to put you in the forefront in order to advance your career and also succeed in your career?
I think the most important thing that I've learned is to encourage candor, and it was something that I wanted to do whenever I was a rep, but it's something that I always had as something that I wanted as a leader in the movie theater industry, but also in the sports world, and that's to encourage candor. It's to allow people to be honest and talk about what they know, what they don't know, what they want to do, what they don't want to do. And for me, I want to preach that myself. So like I was always willing to speak up, like if there was things I wanted to learn or things I wanted to be a part of. I think it was really important for me to do that and not just hope that somebody provided me those opportunities. I'd like to think I took the bull by the horns in a lot of things I did in both the movie theater world and the sports world. And that's what I encourage our staff to do too, like, is just speak up. If there's things you want to learn, things you want to do, or things you don't want to do, don't be afraid to speak up and talk to me about that if you're part of my team now. But that's also something that I try to do myself individually to kind of help grow through the ranks.
Yeah, and I can attest to that, because when I was on your staff for, like, what was it, 2 or 3 months, and you helped me get the marketing job that ultimately led me to what I'm doing now. So forever grateful, and can say 1000% that you do that to a T.
Thank you.
I may have been a little pissed off at that, though. You took my service partner away from me.
Yep. It's all right. Still the same squad, though. Same squad. But to continue to build off that, we've come to one of our favorite and final questions of the evening here.
Okay.
So, and also possibly our most important question of the entire chat. It's shit you wish you would have known, or shit you wish you knew. So if you could hop in your DeLorean and give your younger self one piece of career advice, what would it be?
That's a great question. So I'm going to go back all the way till when I was in college, before I did any of the movie theater stuff or before any of the sports stuff, and just remind myself that I have a long time before retirement, unless I win the lottery, of course, and that I can take things slowly. You have over 40 years in your career. You don't have to be at the final step tomorrow. I think early on, I put a lot of pressure in myself in doing a lot of things and taking up a lot of time to advance and work. And that took me away from some things now that I can't get back: time with family, time with friends, time to myself. So I would go back all the way to when I first got out of college and before I took my steps into my career, and remind myself, I have a long time to work. I don't have to be at the final step tomorrow.
That's deep. That's some shit I wish I would knew. For sure. All right, Big Rich, thank you again for taking the time to chatting with us today. I have a personal question, non-related. New James Bond movie, No Time to Die. Foul or no foul, did you like or dislike the ending?
I like the ending. I got goosebumps at the ending, and I liked the ending. Now, as a movie, I still prefer Skyfall is my favorite James Bond movie. As a movie, I still wouldn't rank it ahead of that, but I like the ending.
All right.
All right.
We'll have to chat offline about that ending there.
So in a 2-word movie review, what would you give it?
I would give it a see it.
All right. Well, there we have it, folks. While they continue this chat offline about all the movies and everything, if you want to see more of this content, hit the subscribe button below, and don't forget to like us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram.